nothing to do with what they look like. Because
Are
to
you
be
gonna
honest,
knock? Are you gonna buck? Are you gonna call your fam?
what we're talking about is a person that got threatened to be slapped, right? So
But
if
I'm
this
asking you
person
a
in this
question.
picture,
Are you gonna knock? Are you gonna buck or call your fam? You said you're gonna play the game, so let's play the game.
if this person in this picture slapped me as you threatened to do to a cisgender woman, I would be knucking and bucking. And if there's an issue, and it don't even matter if they trans or not, we knucking and bucking.
Okay.
But I'm still calling my fucking brothers when I find out that they were
Are you
trans
gonna
and they
knock?
thought
Are
it
you
was
gonna
okay to
buck? Are you
touch
gonna
me.
call your fam?
So I think knuck and buck is what is it? Universal. Hell, all of them is knuck and buck. Fuck that. I'm not gonna let you stand there and slap me, but I am gonna call my brothers.
So you're gonna call your brother on this guy because he knocked and bucked you?
I'm gonna call my brothers on any person who is not a cisgender woman that thought it was appropriate to put their hands on me. Yes.
Okay.
That is my point.
So the two people, right, that you said you were gonna knuck and buck with were trans women. So
So my
you
brother
wait,
would then come
hold
behind
on
me.
1 second. Let me finish. Right. So based off of not knowing that they was trans, right? How would you have known?
Except that does not give
How
you
would you
right
have
to
known?
touch them. That's my
Once
point. My point
again,
is
how
it's
would
not
you
about
have?
it's not about
How would you have known they were trans women?
okay. So now if you'll allow me an opportunity to respond.
If it was not disclosed to you, how would you have known the person was trans?
You did disclose it. We're not talking about those people in the
But
photo.
how we're talking, you don't know what I
Right?
look like.
And
So you
no, I
just,
don't. I just know that you are honest with us about the fact that you are a trans woman. If I found out that either of those two individuals were up trying to fight cisgender women, I would have a problem with that. Period. There's no, I'm not making an exception. There are no exceptions to the rule. The fact that because you look like us makes it okay to fight us is not, that should not even be a conversation. That's like saying a
don't let
trans
nobody else up. Don't
man,
let nobody else up.
Chosen. Me and Chosen are beyond close. Chosen is one of the closest people I'm close to on this app. Chosen is a trans man. No man, Bray King, no Chosen. There's no way you're gonna tell me that it's okay for Bray King to haul off and slap Chosen.
Come on up, Street King. Just let everybody talk. Don't come and rush.
It's not
Crazy. We're
okay to
having a
haul off and
conversation.
slap Chosen.
Request
Chosen was
out.
born a woman. Whether you want to play games or not, you know that is a woman. So if you slap Chosen, you're the problem.
But the question was,
hey Candy, I don't mean to cut you off real quick. How do you want us to control the letting ups? You want to control? You want us to?
I could control it. Y'all could drop when I tell them to.
All right.
Thank you. So the problem here is y'all don't know anything about me, right? Just that I told you I was trans. You don't know what I look like. So for y'all to make an assumption like, oh, she's trans. You just said you was going to knock and buck two trans women, right? But y'all run on this app and say, well, I know that she's trans, so I'm going to get my brother. How would you have known the person was trans if the person did not tell you they was trans?
That's not the question. I don't think that's the point.
I'm talking. Thank you.
Okay, I'll
just
mute
let
up
me
real
finish.
quick. I just hate that it took me to
Thank you. So
gaslighting. I'm sorry.
So the point is not gaslighting. It's facts.
Gaslighting the whole TikTok.
It's not gaslighting. Thank you. So the whole point of this is y'all are just assuming that all trans women may be 10 times stronger or 10 times likely. I am talking. If you don't have manners, you could go down. And that's the problem. We're women. So for y'all to say that I can't slap another woman is diabolical to me. I'm a woman.
Slap another trans woman. You
I
cannot
can slap a cis woman too if I wanted to.
You can, yes. But if they go get their brothers or their dad and their dad or their brothers whoop your ass, they're not wrong.
But they would be wrong because when we talk about biology and we talk about the difference between gender and sex, You can't change your sex. You can change your gender. That's why gender, race, and other things are social constructs. Obviously, you can't physically change your race due to the fact that when we talk about transracial, that pertains to transracial adoptions or transracial adoptees. But what I need for people to understand is that man and male, woman and female are not synonymous with each other, just like how African American and black are not synonymous with each other. There are like there's white T people who ethnically are African American. So we need to understand this in the context of this conversation to
I'm
where
gonna get
Candy
y'all
coming
later,
from.
especially you, Candy, and all the motherfuckers that you gaslighting too.
Hold on, Javon.
Don't let
I
him
don't
up.
like
Do not let him up no
Javon.
more.
I don't like how your mic is. I want to hear every word you're saying. Can you come closer or something, or get out the
Can y'all hear
bathroom?
me?
It's an echo.
Can y'all hear me?
Or it's like an echo on
No.
it, Javon.
Hold on.
I think the problem that's going on here is that people are expecting to tell what a trans person looks like. Like, what is it? What is the look? What is the trans look? That's the part that's confusing me.
Hey, Hades, baby. I don't think I'm confusing anything. I know that trans women are beautiful. Most of them, actually, you would never ever even be able to tell. That has absolutely nothing. The way she looks has absolutely nothing to do with what I am talking about. Okay, nothing. She by birth, by origin, her genetics, which is why she has to have anything to help her transition, hence the word trans, to female, right? So that means that she was not originally by birth set up to have the ergonomics that my body has. We don't fight the same. That's why men and women don't fight in the ring professionally, because we're not the same. You understand? So while she is a different version of woman, and I completely acknowledge and respect, she is not a cisgender woman. Therefore, me and her can't even compete in sports. She can't run on the same track field that I run on, because the expectation is that she runs those jumps higher. Because she runs from where I come from.
What about cis people that do have genetic advantages? For example, there was this Olympic swimmer, Michael Phelps.
Okay, Haiti, hold on. Me and you not gonna get into the anomalies, okay? All I'm telling you is the word trans means to me that you should not be putting your hands on a cis woman, period. That's it. That's all.
So you're contradicting yourself, though.
Okay.
So you contradicted yourself when you said that you cannot tell 99% of the time. So if Big Candy, did never told y'all that she was trans, y'all would not be even having this conversation right now.
That's my
the whole issue is your transphobia.
Hold on. Let me be clear. You're correct, Harmony. We would not be having this conversation because no one would know that she was trans. However, it does not make the actions of slapping a cisgender woman any less wrong, in my opinion.
But on Messy Talk, cisgender women threaten each other all the time.
Right.
Y'all threaten each other all the time.
We are cisgender
Okay,
women,
and that doesn't matter. Women are women. Gender itself is a social construct created under white T supremacy.
Because I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I feel how I feel.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Jason.
I'm sorry, I can't fix the echo. If y'all do hear,
there ain't no going back and forth, baby. You're wrong. You're transphobic on that shit.
Oh, I don't care. I'm phobic.
I know you don't care, and you're a nurse, and that's disgusting.
I'm all the phobics.
Oh, go ahead, Hayden. My bad. I'm on.
Y'all tap in, please. Candy, Brad said, can you unmute him?
Yeah, I'll do that, but he needs to calm down. So let him take 5 minutes.
So
we're trying to have a productive adult live, and he wants to ramp it up, and we're having a conversation.
So AJ, what I'm failing to understand, right, is you're appealing to biology as part of your argument, but then I'm not allowed to talk about the anomalies, because the anomalies are a lot more than you think. For example, we have seen it in sports, like the whole controversy.
Conversation.
Break your unmuted.
Candy has not alluded to being an anomaly in any way, shape, or form. Neither has Low ever alluded to being an anomaly. So discussing the anomalies in this moment are irrelevant. Now, if you want to discuss it for informational purposes in an informational moment, then of course do that. But right now, we're not discussing anomalies because no anomalies are even involved in said situation. That's why I don't want to discuss anomalies, because we pulling apart threads for absolutely no reason. Nobody here involved is an
Share the
anomaly.
live, y'all. Tap the screen, share the live, and get the panel and a hose. Go ahead, Harmony. Were you speaking?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I've never used looks as the argument. I don't doubt that Candy is a beautiful woman, and that's why I've always called her she, her. She's a woman, right? What I'm talking about is the bio. I'm a nurse, so you're never gonna beat the science out of me, baby, because I understand the science. I signed up to teach the science to patients on how it works, the body.
Really, they definitely do pick and choose, and it's so crazy that y'all went on almost a 2-week tour about Big Candy, and y'all have men on this app threaten other women on this app, and y'all haven't dragged it out this long the way y'all did Big Candy. The fact that the sippy cup was just on live and had Corey the trucker threaten QL, and she said, "Oh, stop it, Corey," and that was it. But where was the world tour for him? Where was the 358 rant about that? So when you want to say protect all Black women, why wasn't QL protected? Why wasn't QL had the opportunity to say what she needed to say? Why wasn't the sippy cup on live ranting about Corey and how he threatened that woman?
I don't know
or when Corey threatened Alex and Trina, like there's been instances where like people like James even has threatened Alex and Trina, and there's no backlash. What I wanted to say really quickly is from the perspective of gender versus be sex. Like I said, I'm gonna just say one more time. It's a social construct, and as a cisgender man, I would never walk up to a trans man and say, "Well, you're not a real man because you're not cis." That's harmful.
Right.
And a lot of individuals do that. They invalidate people, and cisgender people try to gatekeep manhood, and cisgender women try to gatekeep womanhood. And with the perspective when we talk to our trans brothers and sisters and they them people,
you didn't check Corey. I wasn't alive.
We don't do a good enough job of making it a safe space for trans people, period. We don't talk enough to people who live outside of the cis heteronormativity. And from my perspective, being somebody with a psych major, graduating with a forensic psych major, I specifically spoke on this in my class a lot. And I was reminded from other individuals that it is dangerous and it's harmful at times. Even if you have proximity to trans people, that doesn't mean that you quite understand them or you have full context. Like Marsha P. Johnson, when we talk about civil rights activists, she doesn't get brought up a lot because of her intersection. She was a dark-skinned Black trans woman. The P in Marsha P. Johnson was Power to the People Johnson. Like there's a reason why she is highlighted for being one of the individuals who were prominent in the Stonewall riots and what happened to LGBTQIA plus people, specifically Black LGBTQIA plus people. So, I think that in the context within this conversation, a lot of individuals are saying that they're real women or we're real men, but there are men that can't produce enough sperm to create a child, and there are women that don't have uteruses or fallopian tubes to create a child. So in those instances where there's men and women who can't have children, are they still cis men and cis women? Because we have to understand that. Okay. So you also understand, like, there's trans men who are birthing people that can't have kids, and there's like trans women. Like, we have to understand that.
Right. I'm not. Hold on, Javon, because there's
I'm not saying AJ. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you do it. I'm just saying in general. Individuals are saying that, oh well, manhood or womanhood is attached to having kids, and I'm making it known that that's not the
No, I
definition or
disagree. I've not stated anything about her being real or me
okay.
being real or any of that, nor have I said anything about her being able to have a child because as a medical professional, I am aware that several women are born barren every single day, okay, for several reasons. And lots of them don't find out until they're in childbearing years that they are barren. And I find that to be so sad. Okay, so no, you and I are not discussing the ability to birth a child. Okay, cisgender does not mean real. Cis does not mean real. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying born a woman, cisgendered woman. Okay, nor am I discussing what the trans community goes through because I'm not denying that either. But by your logic, Javon, a person who decides at the age of 29, 30, to start to transition tomorrow, okay, a man, let's say Braid, decides tomorrow.
Okay, that's my point. Let me hone that one. That's the only reason I'm up here. That's the only reason I'm up here. Please, let me get one more try, Candy.
Okay, wait.
Candy, one more try. Can I get one more try, Candy? That's my point, AJ. Please let me bring it in.
Let
me just bring that in. That's my only point, AJ. That's the only reason.
I'm gonna let you say that, but let me say this.
This is my only point.
Braid's point is about to speak to the fact that I feel like what that opens up the door to is any person on that spectrum that considers themselves trans,
precisely,
thinking that they can reach out and touch a woman.
Candy, let's be clear. There's a lot of variables that you're not adding in. There's a lot of variables you're not adding in, Candy. If I was to take your stance, trans, we all know trans is a spectrum, regardless.
Correct.
If we're taking your stance, I can be trans, and tomorrow I can say I'm trans. I can start transitioning tomorrow and then beat AJ's ass if I was to take your stance.
That's not what I was talking about.
Yes, it is. You're saying a trans woman. If I say that I'm trans today, that means I'll be trans tomorrow. That means no, Candy. By your logic, me becoming trans tomorrow, I can beat up any woman I want to. Let's be clear. You're not saying how long you're transitioning. Does it make a difference that I transition tomorrow for a day or you transition for 2 years? Regardless, we're both trans. If I said I was trans tomorrow, yes, it is the same. What's the difference?
No, it's not, Trav.
What's the difference?
You're trying to move the goalpost.
Tell me the difference.
Not working.
Tell me the difference. Tell me the difference.
Okay. Are you going to be quiet so we can tell you the difference? Or are you going to
tell me right now?
Thank you, Harmony. Would you tell him the difference, please? Or Javon?
So when people are
pick one to fight this battle.
Can you be quiet? She's talking. Please. Thank you.
You ever quiet when I'm talking? Thank you.
She's talking. Thank you.
Excuse me. So first of all, I think that it's very harmful because it's starting to feel like some people
what
are
y'all are saying is harmful. Y'all gaslighting motherfuckers. Y'all harmful. So what's
okay.
Can you let her talk, please?
That's cute.
I'm gonna talk how we do on motherfucking messy talk. How y'all doing my shit?
Okay, but let her finish. Thank you.
Please finish so I can finish while you're finishing.
Okay, where are you going to drop it and she could... Go ahead, Harmony.
Okay. So that's literally not how it works. And it's spreading a harmful narrative that trans people are inherently violent or they're violent and they're just going to attack cis women and cis men.
That's not even...
Yes, oh my fucking God. I'm fucking talking.
Mods, mute their mics for me, mods, please. When she's finished, y'all can talk.
So it's starting to spread a very harmful narrative that trans people are violent when that is not the fucking case. Mm-hmm. And that's very harmful within itself. And it's very harmful, me as a black cis woman, to ever believe that trans women are threatening or violent or anything like that. Because this whole idea of transphobia, the whole idea, and women on this app threaten each other every day.
Clock it.
The only reason why y'all are so mad, again, is because she's a trans woman. And y'all don't see her as a woman. But men on this app who are actually cis men who ain't never taken estrogen hormone, nothing in their life, literally have threatened women's lives on this on this app, especially on Messy Talk and even on Debate Talk. But y'all sit here and just think everything is so funny and a kiki. And when shit is really happening, there's legislation right now that is attacking trans people. Okay, so if you're talking about you're for black people, yada, 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 then that means you're for black trans people as well. But y'all are making this an entertaining thing, like when it makes no sense. Because when Slim was walking around threatening everybody to unalive them, what did y'all do? Coddle that man and say, oh, he's misunderstood, yada, 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 and gave that grown man, all these excuses. But you can't even have any grace for a black trans woman who goes through the same misogynoir, if not worse, than a cis woman, because she is trans living in her truth. And so it's very harmful to continue to spread this rhetoric. And before y'all just start saying terms, please learn the fucking definitions of terms. Gaslighting is not what anybody is up here doing. Okay? If you didn't coddle Slim, then I ain't talking to you. Hello. Hit dogs holler. At the end of the day, transphobia is rooted. I'm not done talking. At the end of the day, transphobia is rooted from white supremacy. And it's not helping any of us, especially black women who are, especially if you're a dark-skinned black woman, who are called every day aggressive and masculine, etc. But y'all don't have that same energy for these men, these cis men who are actually attacking black women on this app, cis or trans.
Okay, so first of all, she didn't answer the question that she was asked at all, Candy. So
did answer the question. It's called estrogen. Hello. It's called. You didn't. You barely waited. You barely waited. I answered the question. You don't want to answer. You don't want to hear the fucking question. The answer. That's the fucking issue.
Okay, well, I heard every word you said. None of that answered the question. So,
it did.
Candy, The question that I have for you, Candy, not for any of these minions that's not answering the question. Okay. The question that I have for you, what amount, where is the line that's drawn that says how trans you can be before you can hit a woman? Is there like a rule in the trans book, or is it what me and Braid are saying? One day in, you could just slap a woman. I'm trying to figure out
Yeah, so that's a good question, right? So for one day in, I don't think you just get a estradiol and think you could just hit a woman, right? I've been transitioned since I was the age of 15 years old. I am now 30. So for me, my trans experience is different from every other trans woman, right? So I can't even answer that question because every trans woman and every transition is different. For me, I can only speak for myself. I feel like I have the same strength as the cis woman.
Now, I also want to speak to the fact that it was said that there's a rhetoric being spun that trans people are violent or inherently violent or whatever that was. Nobody said that trans people were inherently violent. However, the only reason we're having this conversation is because a trans woman in our Messy Talk community threatened a cis woman. So if you don't want the trans community to come off as inherently violent, it probably would be a good idea to not threaten members of the cis community, right? I don't understand.
No, I'm a woman. I'm a woman.
But the problem is that
can I say something?
The problem in this is the fact that her being trans got brought up because again, trans women are women, trans men are men. The fact that her being trans got brought up was also the issue. People shouldn't be threatening to put hands on each other, period. But the trans part shouldn't have been brought up.
And while we talk about laws being brought up against trans people, you realize that Roe v. Wade is all about us cisgender women and nothing to do with the trans community men at all. So let's not talk about laws.
Not just about cis women. It's about females. That's what it's about. It's not just about cis women. It's about females. Females.
Trans men are
trans men are females.
Trans men are birthing people.
How did you pass your nursing exam? This is fucking bewildering.
Yes, go. Yes.
I was salutatorian, and that's how
AJ, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Barely.
AJ, hold on 1 second. Yes, go. Hi, yes. Welcome to the Candyland. This is Big Candy, not the little. How are you? Are you
okay? Hello. That's cute.
Okay. Are you a trans sister?
No, I'm not actually.
Okay.
So, but so the thing that was like kind of like throwing me with the argument that both Braid and AJ are making about like where's that line between like who can and can't do what, that doesn't really make any sort of sense to me because nobody can do it regardless. Like you can't. Like, what's it called? Like, a woman cannot hit a woman. A man cannot hit a man. Like, these are not things that people legally can even do. Like, so, like, I think y'all are just trying to, like, because y'all tend to, like, well, maybe, I don't know y'all, but I don't know, y'all just be, like, justifying people beating people ass and stuff like that or whatever. So maybe that's what y'all do. So you find it okay for people to go around putting their hands on folks. So you don't see an issue with maybe a woman putting her hands on another woman, but that's not something that we do around here. So people shouldn't be putting their hands on nobody. So either way, it's unacceptable whether a man hit the woman or a woman hit the woman or a trans woman hit the woman. It doesn't really make a difference. So that's just something that just shouldn't be happening. But it does contribute to the rhetoric that trans women are inherently violent, even though you're not explicitly stating that. We are with validating trans people, in that is where the problem comes from. I don't know why you're talking.
What's your pronouns? I'm sorry. What's your pronoun?
It's he, him.
Okay, let him finish, AJ.
Yeah. So I didn't say that you were associating violence with trans people. I said that you were associating violence with the validation of trans people. Those are two different statements. That's what I'm saying here. And for people that cannot comprehend, like they are going to run
with that narrative.
Yeah, they're going to run with the narrative that's what trans people are doing. That's what they do. Like, when they want to push narratives to keep trans people out of women's spaces, they try to make trans women seem violent. Like, so and then they do so by showing you a man in a wig like harming women. So like that is like, these are the things that they were just talking about. So it does contribute, but even though like that's not explicitly what the argument that y'all were making, that it does contribute to that.
Okay, so you
Candy.
Wait, hold on. Give me one second.
Congo wants to come up.
Yeah, bring mods. If Congo's in the queue, bring him up. But also, wait, hold on, AJ. Let me just finish. I'm sorry. So also, right, I did ask Bray King a question, right? So he said, he was like, Candy, if I saw you hit my sister, I'm gonna beat the living out of you, right? So I said, okay, that's fine. So I said, now, if you didn't know I was trans and I hit your sister, what would you have done? He said nothing. So then I said, now, since you said that, because you're looking at more of like what's between you're worried about the genitalia area, right? Like what you were born as, right? So I said, okay, so let's play that analogy. So if I get my friend who's a trans man, right? He's 6'5". Think of Denzel, what's that guy? Diesel. What's his name? That actor Diesel. He's muscled down, right? Think of him. Vin Diesel. Think of Vin Diesel. He's 6'5", Vin Diesel body type. Literally benches like 320. So I said, what if he slapped your sister? What would you do, Braid? Braid said, I would beat him up. So now you contradicted what you said before. Because AJ, I'm sure the trans man who's 6'5", shaped like Vin Diesel, bench press 320 and slaps the shit out you, you're going to call your brothers because you're going to think that's a man. That's the first thing you're going to do. So for y'all to perpetuate like, oh, like some trans people you can clock, but not all. So this is the problem we have here, right? Because y'all are so fixated with the trans instead of being fixated with the violence or the assault here. And it starts to hit the borderline of being transphobic because your mind cannot comprehend a trans person hitting a cis woman, and that triggers y'all. But like I said, I showed you 2 pictures. I said, and we play the game. Would you knuck or you buck or call your family member? You knucked and bucked with 2 trans women and didn't even know they was trans women. And the fact that you were so hesitant to ask because you weren't sure if they was trans or not, and you wasn't sure where I was going with it. But this shows you that if that person never tells you that they're trans, it debunks everything you guys stated on this app. Wait, let me finish. It debunks everything that y'all stated on this app. Y'all can't say, because if I was a trans woman and AJ, I went up to you and you didn't know I was trans and I slapped you and you fought me back and you won and I hit you up, girl, I was trans. It would shock you, right? So it debunks what you're really saying here. Like, y'all fixated with the genitalia part of what they were born with instead of actually being fixated on the soul. Y'all act like trans women's out here hitting people. I'm allowed to say what I want on Messy Talk. This is Messy Talk. Y'all say it all the time on Messy Talk. There's no rules. There's no boundaries. I ask on every panel, is there rules? Is there boundaries? Is there anything? And each and every one of y'all, as a creator or live host, said, no, there isn't. But the fact that a trans person now says something, we are in an uproar for more than 2 weeks, about to hit 3.
Okay, and I want to be clear. I don't know who we is because I just happened to see it on the blogs and I mentioned it to you when I saw you. So this is how we end up in this conversation. I also want to notate that he said that it's a legal thing not to touch each other. Of course, that's a law, right? Assault, battery, that's why it exists. However, we all know socially that men fight men and nobody got an issue, and women fight women and nobody got an issue. We're not talking about the police, okay? We're talking about morality, your idealism, how you see and think about things. My whole point was, and it has absolutely nothing to do with trying to clock it after the fact. See, we're making it about after you fight a cisgender woman. I think my point to you was, as someone who I respect, Candy, I expect for you to not even have the mentality that you want to slap a cisgender woman. I would.
You can't tell me, but you can't tell me what I can and cannot do.
I didn't say that. Hold on.
You can't expect that, right? But you can't expect that from me.
I didn't cut you off. I'm simply giving my opinion, which is what we all do on this app. Okay, right. You're right. I have no right to expect anything from you. Okay, no, I'm not denying that. What I am saying to you is, as a cisgender woman, I personally, for me, someone who respects you, wanted to make sure that you knew from how I felt in my chest. This ain't about our conversation wasn't about how anybody else felt, because I don't give a fuck about none of them people. What I eat don't make them shit, and vice versa. I wanted Candy, the person who I invite into my space, to know that it's not okay for me to know that as much as I respect you, you'll haul off and slap me. Because if you will slap low, then you will slap me. If I did not
tell y'all I was trans on this app, we would not be on the uproar. It would be just a regular person saying that she wanted to slap a regular person. So we have to be realistic with the shit we talk about. We have to be realistic, though.
There's no uproar for me. And I'm not talking about people who I don't know.
It is an uproar because you're saying it like it's an uproar.
So, no, I never said there was an uproar. I never yelled. I haven't even come up here yelling and screaming. So I've never caused an uproar. That is an untrue statement. No uproar.
You had an uproar this morning and said, I'm going to get my brother. That's an uproar to me.
That was not an uproar. I said just as calmly as I'm speaking to you now, Candy, I feel like if you were to ever slap me, then I will go and get my brothers and there will be a problem. I didn't come up there yelling and screaming.
Well, why would you assume that I'm going to... But this is the thing, AJ. This is the thing.
But I respected you. I was just telling you how I felt. I never called you out of your name. I never cursed. I didn't yell. I said how I felt. That was it. That is all. I'm due my feelings just like you're due your feelings. The problem is that everybody want to make it be this much bigger thing than it is. If I were ever next to you, Candy, I'm sorry, as much as I respect you, if I were ever in a room with you and you slapped a cisgender woman in front of me and I know that you are a trans woman, we jumping you. That's just how I feel about it. So I wanted you to know from me, who respect you, how I feel about it. That is it. That is all. There is no uproar because me and you don't.
So you're transphobic. Got it. That's it. You're transphobic.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
You're transphobic.
Like those are my feelings.
Can I say something?
what it is.
And if you get your brothers, then it turns into a hate crime. Let's really talk about it.
Can I just speak on this?
Now there's
Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna speak on this topic because I feel like everybody has an opinion. You get what I'm saying? So, as a trans man, right? If a cis man puts his hands on me, as a trans man, I don't care if I was born a female, not born a female. I'm gonna fight. You feel me? Regardless of what, you're gonna do whatever it is to protect yourself. Now, in this situation, as a trans woman, I get what you're saying, but I also get from a cis woman's position as well, because regardless of whether you are a trans woman, Candy, or not, as a cis woman, some cis women don't look at you guys as equal. You get me? They look at you as a born male. So regardless,
that's why we clocked it.
So regardless of what, the natural state mind is gonna say, let me go get my brother, or let me go get somebody, for that person, which I understand.
But New York chosen, and that's the whole thing about this whole argument, right? Is they made it seem as if the threat was major, but it wasn't major. The transness was the problem. So go ahead.
So basically, but you can't, this is how I see too, like it's right and then it's wrong. You can't knock a cis woman neither for going to get their brother, because at the end of the day, that's like
we would have to, that's a hate crime.
No, it is a hate crime in a certain extent, because at the end of the day, anybody on this panel in the comments, they gonna ride out for theirs, regardless of what. When yours is in a situation where they're in
I'm not putting my hands on a woman.
Regardless of what, you ain't gonna give a fuck.
I would have put my hands on a woman, though.
Alien.
I would have put my hands on a woman. I'm not putting my hands on a woman.
It's actually not a hate crime if Candy slaps me first, like she said she was going to do to Lo. That was what we started.
It's a hate crime when you specifically go get mad because she's trans. That is a hate crime.
Listen. I don't feel like it's a hate. This is my opinion. Everybody got an opinion.
It is a hate crime.
Okay. Listen. No, I'm saying this from my opinion.
I'll explain how it's a hate crime, but we cannot talk over each other. But
can I just finish saying what I was going to say?
That I am.
And this is what I said. And to a certain extent, because regardless of what, you gonna ride out for any family member. That's like my sister comes.
I think you're moving the goalposts, right? That wasn't the top. That like riding out wasn't really the topic, right? The topic was more of like a trans woman hitting a cis woman, right? And they're more focused on the genitalia part of the trans woman. So like you said before, you did clock it, right? They don't look at us as women. So they could come on this app and say, oh, you're a woman. But then when I do a woman thing, it's wait, hold on, let's pause that. We got to take 10 steps back because you're not a woman. So we have to clock it for what it is, right? And I call that transphobia, because that's what it is. You're not focused on the threat. You're focused on the whole point of the person who was born as one point as a male and transitioned to a female, right? And then all of a sudden, it's like, you're a woman, but you have limitations of your womanhood. That's the issue. Right? So it's an issue when y'all say, oh, we love trans. And just like the Sippy Cup said earlier, right? Like how she tried to infiltrate $2 into this. And also I have to clock that as well. When $2 said, stop giving backhanded compliments. And then she's like, oh, $2 said, call you a man. $2 said, call you a man. No, you wanted to be transphobic the whole time because you was calling me a woman and then you would give me a backhanded compliment and identify me as a male. So $2 was saying to you, like, stop giving a backhanded compliment. If you're going to be buck and you're going to be real, call her what you really want to call her. You get what I'm saying? So the transphobia, and this is why people don't understand the difference of like, okay, the line is very thin here when it comes to transphobia because y'all not looking at the threat itself. Y'all could have said, Candy, the threat is, you should have never threatened another woman. Okay, let's move on. But instead, this had lasted for more than 2 weeks already, and y'all still infatuated about my genitalia, what I was born as, and moved away from the violence. At that point, now you're focusing on a person itself. And that's when transphobia comes into play.
Well, I wasn't trying to be transphobic. I think for me, like we all know, trans is a spectrum.